There we go. Hi. I totally didn't forget to. Oh God, my gain is too high. Okay. I totally didn't forget to turn on my microphone or anything. That's totally not something I forgot to do. But before I get started, holy hell! Thank you all for thank you for the resub, Shadow, and thank you for the 5 gift subs. I haven't even started yet. Holy crap, man! The room is not necessarily empty, but it is echoey because your boy hasn't recalibrated the microphone yet to deal with the lack of cloth around. I've got some sound paneling up, but that only does so much. But as long as you can hear me, that's what matters. But yes, thank y'all for joining me. I hope this is going to be informative, and hopefully this empowers you more to deal with your fucking insurance companies. Because insurance companies, your doctors, literally anyone. Because honestly, the shit that they're able to get away with just because folk don't know their rights and how to fight back. As someone who works in the industry, it pisses me off. Like, I got into this industry completely by accident. I did not go to school to learn health insurance. I did not apply to work for a health insurance company. I actually got this through a temp agency back when I was fresh out of college and needing work, because accounting companies are kind of a bitch and a half to get your foot in the door into. So I needed money, and that's how I got here. And I've been here I've been working for this for an insurance company for ages now. Thankfully not the better part of my life, but a decent bit of my professional life is insurance. So I know this shit thoroughly, and I want to help you get what you need. And thank you all for that hype train. Like I said, I haven't even started yet. I just got here. But, alright. Let's go ahead and begin. So, before we really go ahead and kick this off, I'm going to go ahead and give y'all a bit of a disclaimer here. You know what? Hold up. Hey, look at me go. Look at me being a smarty. Alright, so first up, quick disclaimer. Now, although I am a medical behavioral health insurance professional, I am not a doctor or lawyer, and I am not your doctor or lawyer. What we're about to go over, HIPAA laws, healthcare information, these are laws I have to follow as a part of my job. And as such, I'm well versed in them to the point. So as they're a facet of my job and how I have to act so I don't get sued or arrested by the US government. That's why I know these. This is why I'm able to go over this with you and give you details on it. It's just so I know this, because I have to go through this training pretty much every 2 months or so. So keep that in mind. The information I'm going to be providing you is information is directly from applicable U.S. government websites. They all have a .gov after them. I will be showing you how to navigate them, how to get to them. I will be providing you links. But that is it. I'm not going to say, hey, yeah, no, run and represent yourself in court because your doctor is screwing you over. No, I'm not going to tell you that. I will never tell you to try and do that shit. but I will tell you, I will give you the tools you need in order to get the proper legal representation you need and push them into the direction you want, instead of having to say, oh, well, I think my doctor is doing this, and they're charging you out the ass while you try and explain what's going on. So bear that in mind as we go through this. And if you're watching the VOD, that disclaimer also goes for you. I am not your doctor or lawyer, and I am not a doctor or lawyer. But with that out of the way, let me go ahead and get rid of this. Boop. Let's go ahead and get started. So, first up, just given by the name of the stream, let's go ahead and go over this. The fuck is HIPAA? HIPAA is a... Ooh, I feel scratchy. But, okay. There we go. So, HIPAA is the Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act. Basically, it's just a law that got passed in, I believe, 96? Hold up. Yeah, no, this law got passed in 96 as a result of a lawsuit, which is how, unfortunately, most healthcare laws get started. Like, literally, if it's a law regarding your healthcare of what we can or can't do, it means that a health professional did it and got sued for it, and they're like, yeah, we got to pass a law about this now because we didn't realize we had to tell you you can't do this. So what it's done is it's meant to protect your health insurance information, not even just your health insurance information, your health information, like that. All of your health information, whether it's, oh, your doctor is aware that you had a cold on November 24th of 1993, or if you have a surgery coming up in the next 5 months and the details of that, and everything in between. It's meant to protect that. And it's also meant to establish your health rights in a better sense when it comes to just your health information. Right. So it's pretty encompassing, and a lot of doctors and health professionals will use buzzwords and just throw around the phrase, oh, this is a HIPAA requirement, or that's against HIPAA, in order to not do things. That's not entirely how it works. Like, they're not entirely bullshitting you, but they kind of are in certain ways. And we're going to be going over that. Now, as for what it basically means, it's like, as for like really who has to follow HIPAA, mostly it's just going to be doctors, health professionals, medical billers. But oh god, come on, breathe. It's not just them. It's a lot more than that. But thankfully, these laws, unless you're doing something you have no business doing, aren't meant to punish you. Let me play that. It's not that they don't affect you, it's just that they're not meant to punish you. They are meant to rein in health insurance professionals like myself, and doctors, and pretty much anyone who's going to be dealing with your medical information. Now, I know you're looking at me as like, oh, well, you're adorable. You would never do anything that would violate these laws. Sometimes it's not intentional. Shit, from experience, and like I said, it's not always intentional. I've made a few HIPAA violations myself as a healthcare professional by giving out information that I was not aware I could not share. and go through the audit process. You, depending on how bad it was, you can end up paying a fine. Depending if you really fucked up, the DOJ gets involved and you can go to jail for up to 10 years. Fun facts. But anywho, we're not going to get into the full punishment spectrum here because that's not why you're here. At least I hope not, because we're not going to be covering it in this stream. What we will be covering is just like what all does it do. So first off, let's talk about what HIPAA what HIPAA protects. Now, when we say your health information, we're talking about what your health insurance company will call PHI. And that is your personal health information. Now, this covers a lot. It is condensed down to say anything that could be used to personally identify you by your health information outside of, and just anything that can be used to narrowly identify you and only you. And trust me, it covers a lot. So sort of things like, yeah, your obvious stuff like your name, your date of birth, your social security number, your health insurance ID, your driver's license, things like that. It also has broader categories like, oh hey, are you narrowing this patient down by something smaller than a state? So like your street address, what city you're in, what county you're in, what precinct or zip code you're in, your area, the area code to your phone number. All of that protected information. Meaning if your information is, like say your doctor is gabbing with a friend over some drinks at a bar saying, oh yeah, you wouldn't believe, well, I can't say where they live, but this St. Louis patient, this Tallahassee patient, this Dallas patient of mine had this colonoscopy, or I had to remove a kidney and put in a rubber duck. Anything like that, PHI violation, HIPAA violation, they're in trouble if anyone overheard them and reports them. They got to defend themselves on why were they spreading that information around. And that's not a lawsuit that anyone wants to be on the business end of. But yeah, no. It goes deeper into that, like your age, any numbers that can indicate your age. If you're old enough to have a fax number, whether that be an online fax number or you actually have a actual fax machine, which if you're outside of Japan, you shouldn't be using those unless you're in the health insurance field, but I digress. Those PHI, your email address, if you are using email addresses for communicating with your doctor, that's protected. They can't share, they're not supposed to share that shit unless it's with select parties, and we will get into that in just a second. There are instances where your PHI can be shared. Let's see. So yeah, here's a good one. URLs. If your doctor has a website where you can log into a portal, and there is a specific URL assigned that correlates with your insurance information or your health information. Say you're getting your medical services through the University of Idaho's renal Foundation. if they have a login portal for you to go to, there's going to be a specific URL that that shows up when you're logged in. That URL is yours. Past the initial part where it says, oh, University of Idaho, whether it says University of Idaho Renal Center, whatever, once it's past that .com and you're getting into the backslash, that URL is yours. That they are not to share that with anyone. They're not to give your portal information to anyone because, again, personal health identifying information. Let's see, your biometric identifiers such as your finger or your voice prints. If you use a biometric login for your health insurance portal, they can't share that. There are so many things that can constitute a breach if they share it outside of proper channels. And thankfully, severe breaches do not happen too often because, again, HIPAA started as a lawsuit. That's not the only health insurance lawsuit that's shown up. It's not the only medical lawsuit that's shown up. And every single time a new lawsuit rears its head, guess who has to go through training to learn about what new shit got passed for it? Yours truly. There are just so many acts and laws built in your favor to help you fight back just because insurance companies weren't told that they had to do it or that they couldn't do it. So they did it and claimed, well, we didn't know, or well, there's not a law against it. And sometimes they get away with it. A lot of the times they don't because of public backlash, which we will also discuss later on. Public backlash against insurance companies and medical professionals is good. If they are fucking you over, fight back. Make us think about it. Do not keep it quiet. If they're going to screw you over, screw them right back. I guarantee you, the last thing a medical professional wants, whether it's insurance, whether it's a doctor, is publicity in a negative way. And in some situations, publicity itself. Usually they only want good publicity, like a good review, customer testimonies, things like that. Unless they're doing some shady shit where they don't want to be talked about at all. But, bad publicity. And insurance companies and doctors hire whole ass companies to prevent that shit from seeing the light of day. So the more you make it costly for them to do you dirty, the less likely it's going to happen. Shame them. Publicly shame them. As we've seen with just companies recently, they don't like bad publicity. They don't like people talking about the shit that they've been doing. Especially in this day and age where we have Twitter. Fuck you, Elon. It's always Twitter. It's not X. Fuck you. Facebook. Although it steals a lot of information, Facebook still spreads like wildfire. Just your individual blogs on Tumblr or Blue Sky, Reddit, YouTube, even here on Twitch. Companies do not enjoy it. Providers do not enjoy it. They will do whatever it takes to shut you up and make sure that it gets quashed. So make us think. Make your voice heard and defend your goddamn rights because, well, you deserve it. You deserve to actually be treated with, repeat after me, respect. So, yeah, no. there are too many lawsuits and laws in place for you to protect you. And we're not gonna go over a lot of them today. We're just gonna be focusing on HIPAA. But I'll definitely be going over just details of your insurance. Why am I dropping like this? Okay. Must have been an internet glitch. Okay. But yeah, we're gonna be going over just how to protect yourself. Now, one question I have a feeling is in my little box of questions. I haven't actually checked it out yet, but we do have quite a few. Is, can you be sued for a HIPAA breach violation? Technically, yes. And I say technically because you cannot be sued for leaking your own health insurance, your own health information. That information is yours. You can do with whatever you want with it. If you want everybody to know that you had your stomach replaced by a lemur, okay, sure. If you want everybody to know that you have semi-automatic installed into your butthole, so that way whenever you fart, you turn into a machine gun that can fly around, and you named yourself Skippy because of it. Weird flex, but okay, you can do that. But should you be snooping around, say, your friend's house or something? I'm not sure why you would do that around your friend's house, but if you're snooping around and you find some health insurance information and you leak that, yeah, you can be sued for a violation of HIPAA laws because, one, that's against the law, and two, you did not have anyone's express permission to do so. So definitely be careful with what you share, and just in general, don't be a jerk. If someone's telling you something in the highest of confidence, don't spread that around. It's not for you. But all right, now that we've covered the personal health information, let's go into what agencies does this really apply to. First up, my area, health insurance plans. You work for a health insurance company, you are bound by this, and it is beaten into you. HIPAA is beaten into you from day one. You are told repeatedly, and I do mean repeatedly, you cannot do this, you cannot say this, you cannot give this information out unless these factors are cleared first. If you do, depending on what you did, we will not protect you. We will say we will show that we gave you the training, that you have confirmed that you understood the training. We will go over every little thing we possibly can to protect our own interests. Think of it like a super HR department. They will make sure that their whole tail is covered, and they will send the government after you. So, yeah, if it's a health insurance plan, we are thoroughly required to make sure that we understand that we can't talk about certain things, and we can't talk about certain things with certain people, and we'll go over that more in just a bit. Healthcare providers, that being your doctors, nurses, the front desk secretary, anyone who's fiddling around and with your information, bound by it. There are a few exceptions where their job title won't restrict them, but though they're so far and few in between, the likelihood that that'll actually happen, slim to none. Business associates who have access to your personal health information. That being, if a provider has a third-party billing company, like if they're calling overseas or to another third-party company, and a guy named Jeff picks up the phone, and they have a contract with Jeff saying, "Hey, I render these services. I need you to bill my insurance company, the insurance companies for these members for me because I don't want to do it or I don't understand how to do it." You have no idea just how many providers don't understand how to actually bill your insurance. We'll talk about that more later. But yeah, they can share your PHI on a very limited basis. They can share it to the extent where I can tell you, I can give you their name, I can give you this, I can give you the information that you need to provide an insurance company to identify this member. But that's it. Now, in that same breath, a collection agency, they cannot provide that information to. They can provide information on the debt itself. That being your name and as the person who owes the debt and when the debt was incurred and how much the debt is for, but they cannot provide any further information. That would be a that would be a HIPAA violation, and since the collection agency is going to try and pursue that debt any way they can, that's going to come back on them, both in trouble. And we already covered this, but healthcare clearinghouses, that's Jeff. That's overseas Jeff. They all have to follow those rules. If they don't, we're talking fines issued, jail time, licenses lost, the ability to practice medicine in any capacity lost. It gets rough, and there are, like I said, there are degrees to how much this can have, like the punishments that can occur for this, and it's all based off of whether you can, like in my situation where you just didn't know, or if you were willfully neglectful in doing this and you did nothing up to try and fix it, and you're just hoping it just got swept under the rug and blew away. There is an entire range for that, and it gets ugly. So, now that we've gone over that, let's talk about just how to report it. How do you protect yourself? So, first up, let's go over some rights. Did you know you have rights? I know you have rights, but let's cover them. So, first up, this is the website for Health and Human Services of the U.S. Department for the U.S. government. They have an entire section here on your rights. Your rights, what constitutes some of the stuff that constitutes a violation, resources for you to use. No, I don't want to give you feedback. Go away. Yeah. Okay, regardless, and this is even this, what they're showing you here is just a sample of the stuff that they protect, and you see it's not really going over your like a chart of rights and like subsections and stuff like that, but there are easy ways to find that. And speaking of which, I'm gonna go ahead and go over one with you. Say your doctor or your health insurance company does not want to give you documentation on a procedure that they did for you, specifically for you, or give you your charts for your own medical records, or say that you had a tonsillectomy or something, and they have to like shove a camera down your throat to take a look at your stuff, and they don't want to give you the video. You have a right to that, since that is your personal health information as law. And in this particular right to that video, to those records, there is a specific section dealing with that, meant to protect you. That is the individual's right under HIPAA to access their health information. Chapter 45 CFR subsection 164.524. I will go ahead and post that in chat for you as well. That is strictly meant to help you. It is meant to be there to make sure that no doctor, no health insurance company can deny you your own records, stating you don't have a right to them, because you do. You have a right to them. Exercise your goddamn rights. But yeah, no, they have links to everything that you will need. You just got to navigate it. And it's going to be overwhelming. It's going to be tough. This is where actual lawyers come into play. They will help you. It's in their vested interest to help you in getting this taken care of. Whew. I'm getting a bit winded here. I think I knew that this was going to be a talk that I was good with, because it's something that I do for a living, but I didn't realize just how much I was gonna be, how passionate I got about this. But anywho, let's keep going. Now, as for just where can you get these links to? I'm gonna go ahead and give them to you. And first up, we're gonna go over just guidance materials for you as a consumer. Now, like I said, I'm gonna be providing you with links directly from this website. Hell, the law I just quoted you, that is from the website, from this health insurance chart. I mean, not health insurance chart, from this government website. Goddamn Wiggles, learn to talk. It is directly from that website. It is made solely for you as a consumer, since the object in question being consumed is your health insurance, your health information, your details. We're going to make sure that everything that you have is protected, not just because someone's ass is on the line, but because it's genuinely the right thing to do. Now, does everybody do the right thing all the time? No. I know I don't. Hell, I make sure to do at least one thing wrong every single goddamn day. Usually it's something minor, like tilting this, like putting something where it doesn't belong, like, I don't know, switching around something in the house, and like, it's out of order. It bugs me after a while. No bug jokes. Yeah, it does, but still, not everybody does the right thing all the time, and we need to go ahead and be aware of that and take precautions for it. Like trust, but also be prepared. Like, trust that someone that is rendering you services will do the right thing by you, but also be ready for when they don't. So that way, if they do betray your trust, you can like, okay, fine. It's come to this, so let's go ahead and deal with this way. And you do what you gotta do for that. Now, next up, let me get my little notepad up here. There we go. Or like, now you're gonna probably wonder, like, okay, so my insurance information, like my health insurance information got leaked, or my health information got talked about without my permission. Or my doctor's been screwing around, anything like that. How do I fight back? Guess what? You can file a complaint. You can file a complaint with your insurance company. You can file a complaint with the government, and they will deal with that. And there's a link to do so. And for some reason, chat is behind that screen. So let me go ahead and fix that, because I just realized that that is the case, and that's not good, boo-boo. There we go. Okay. Let's make sure that's good. There we go. Alright, we're gonna post that one more again. Boom. Okay. That is a link that you will follow to file a and it tells you how to file a complaint with the government. And like I said, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services. Having had to deal with them before, like I said, I've made HIPAA violations myself. As for exactly what I did, it was sharing a name. It was sharing It was sharing benefits with someone's mother when they were over the age of 18 and were not listed as someone who was able to speak on their behalf. As for exactly who that was, can't share that, and even if I could, I don't remember who it was, but this was very early on into my job. But yeah, they don't fuck around. Thankfully, it was like, I've only had like maybe 2 or 3 violations over the course of a decade. Let that sink in. It's over the course of a decade, and each time I've had to deal with the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, it is such a, not even just a pain, it is a terrifying ass experience, because the fines that they can issue are massive. Like, from just someone who doesn't know didn't know that it was something that they couldn't do, I could be looking at a penalty of $100,000 to $50,000 if the company I work for didn't try to disavow me and say, oh yeah, no, that's entirely on him, blame him, we had nothing to do with it. And then if it was determined that, oh, I had reasonable cause to expect this, or I just didn't know that fine can jump up to $1,000 to $10,000 minimum. So yeah, no, whenever they come a knocking, I make sure that I have my ducks in a row. I didn't do anything. If I did do something, this is why I did it. And it becomes a very big and a costly game of hot potato, and nobody enjoys it. Nobody. But enough about things that I've done in my past. Let's go here. Filing a complaint. Boom. I just realized I had this tab already open. Yeah. Filing a complaint goes through the entire thing. Here, like, we have a complaint process of how you actually file your complaints. You can do this by mail, email, fax, They have a portal. They have a whole ass portal for you to fill out, that you can go to, fill out your complaint, and that will take care of that. And even this, best part. Let's read this together. HIPAA prohibits retaliation. Under HIPAA, an entity, that being your insurance company, your provider, a third-party billing company, cannot retaliate against you for filing a complaint. If they do, in any span, say it's a matter of, oh, well, they said they're no longer going to treat me because I filed that complaint, report that shit as well. That counts as another HIPAA violation. Not for releasing your information, but because I think that falls under the Whistleblowers Act. I'm not really quite sure, but yeah, no, they cannot come after you for filing a complaint because they didn't do what they were supposed to do. Retaliation, one, makes them look extra guilty, and then two, it just shows off that they're pretty much a dick, and whatever they did, they definitely probably did. And if for some reason you're still scared and you want it to be anonymous, you can fall under the Whistleblowers Act, but at the same time, keep in mind, if you file an anonymous complaint, you do not personally get the resolution that you need. If there's any follow-up that is needed for just to better stick your complaint and provide context, they can't contact you. They can't do anything for you because you haven't told them who you are, or you haven't given the necessary agents who are handling this the information that they need to deal with this. So, filing an anonymous complaint, something you can do, but they cannot directly assist you or protect you when you do that. But here we go. Addresses of where you can send this. Peep the address. DC. So, straight to the executive branch. No, I'm not giving you feedback. Go away. And this is all you need to include. That's what you need. You can also file for somebody else if they're too scared to file. But I would recommend, at the very least, being ready to act as their voice for the entirety of the complaint. Because it can take a bit of time for them to actually go through the whole process, but it can take a bit of time, but at the same time they're going to need a voice somehow. And if they're too scared to speak up for themselves and they want someone else to do it and they trust you enough to, be ready for it to be in for the long haul. Now, as for what to expect when you file a complaint, it's very short and simple. They are gonna determine which entity fucked up, and then all three of those are gonna be gone. They're gonna go through all of them. They're gonna have to voluntarily comply. A corrective action is gonna be taken, whether that's a new act being passed in under the HIPAA Act, or a whole brand new law together, which means more than likely it's going to be named after them. A bit of an accounting background, a bit from an accounting anecdote. I went to school for accounting. There is an act that's no longer in use just because it's outdated. At least I believe it is. I haven't done accounting in quite some time, but yeah, called Sarbanes-Oxley Act. What was it? It was a fraud act made and named after those two companies because they were invested heavily in doing fraud about things. And and that became lesson 1 in accounting 101. So yeah, fun times. If you screw up tremendously to get a new act passed or a new law passed, more than likely it's going to get named after you. So just don't do that shit. Please, I beg you. You don't want that smoke. But anywho, that is about the basis of what I was going to go over in regards to just HIPAA and how it plays out. Like I said, it's really, that law is not there to punish you. It's there to punish everyone else. It's punish and restrict everyone else. It's meant to be your weapon against us as health insurance, as health providers. Now, whether you see that as a shield or a sword, that's up to you. But use it. It's there for you. It is meant to protect you. Use it. Now, let's just branching off from HIPAA and going into the healthcare aspect of it, from a health insurance point of view. I'm going to preface that this is from a health insurance point of view. Here's how we actively use your HIPAA information. So, say your doctor calls in and they want to check out your benefits. Make sure your policy is active. Anything like that, they have to verify a good chunk of information before we are allowed to even start talking about it. That being your ID. Your doctors need your health insurance ID number. There are times where they can use a social. A lot of the times, they're not allowed to, because that gets put under extra lock and key just because your social ties back to your identity with the United States government, and if that gets screwed with, that causes a whole litany of issues for you. So, your ID number, give them the full thing. If you can, send them a picture of your ID card, front and back. Like, they're going to need it. There's so much information on that card that they're going to need that either they're not going to tell you that they need, or that they don't know that they'll need until they actually need it. And then if you don't know where to look, they're not going to be able to help you. They're going to need your name. Now, I'm going to be, it is going to suck to say, but they need your legal name with the state. As much as I would love to say that just your name, like the name that your preferred name, whether you just don't like the name you were born with, or you changed it to better fit your identity. Both of those are, like, that is so highly valid and appreciated, but your insurance is only going to go based off of the name that you actually signed the policy up with and that they verified with the government. So your doctor is going to need to be able to provide your legal name. Now, you can tell your insurance company and your doctor, hey, this is my legal name. My preferred name is this. When we talk, I want to be referred to as this and only this. And they will have to oblige. Otherwise, that can be a civil rights violation in itself, and nobody wants that. Nobody wants to deal with a civil rights violation on top of a HIPAA violation. That's just asking for sadness and despair. But if you need to be able to, they need to be able to provide your legal name. Now, they don't need your full name. If you don't want to tell them your middle name, that's fine. As an insurance agent, we don't care. We don't care about your middle name. But we do need to be able to verify your first and last that's listed with the government. Now, if that changes and you actually get approved for a name change by a judge and that's been put through, let your insurance company know immediately, like, hey, bozos, we got a name, I got a name change, this is my name, this is how it is spelled, change it. They'll be tripping over themselves to change it, I guarantee you, because the longer they leave it alone, the longer that counts as a violation, because they're working off of outdated information. Now, it's one thing if they didn't know it. Like I said, if they don't know it, then they can just get a slap on the wrist or a small fine. But if they do nothing about it, those damages rack up. Nobody wants to pay 1.5 mil and then spend 10 years in prison for this shit. Ooh. Oh, no water. I'll have to do that on the... I'll get some water on the ad break. Now, next thing we need, date of birth. We need to be able to validate your date of birth. Now, there are some times where your insurance company will have your date of birth wrong. Now, whether that was because the wrong field was filled out and when you applied, or it was human error when we filled out your profile, it happens. If there's a wrong date of birth on file, let them know immediately. We can go ahead and address that. If it's a matter of we got the wrong date of birth and like, we're not going to tell them that they have the date of birth, that they have the wrong date of birth, because they'll, if they try and start guessing, we're not going to let them in, even if they get it right at that point. But if they have the wrong date of birth, we're going to tell them, hey, you need to talk to your member, find out what their date of birth is, or have them call in to go ahead and get this sorted out. But yeah, wrong date of birth. If they don't have your date of birth, we're not going to talk to them. We're like, hey, per regulations, we cannot talk to you since you cannot validate ID, name, date of birth. Those are the big three. Those are the big three that we have to verify each and every single time we talk to somebody. Even you. If you can't tell me what your date of birth is, you got a problem. Last thing, your address. This one is not as much of a stickler, but it is something that we will always ask you, because if we cannot verify we have to be able to verify 3 pieces of HIPAA information. Depending on the company, your ID might not be one of them, and they'll be able to sub it for your address. Keep that address up to date. Your address is up to date. That's valid HIPAA. We can proceed. All right. Now, I'm having a blast talking about this, but your boy is parched and we are about to go into an ad. So, I'm going to go ahead and run this ad just a smidge early. It's going to go off in like 30 seconds. I'm going to go ahead and start it off now. But I'm going to get some water, get some stretches in, and then when we get back, we will talk more on this and go over just some more of the finer details of how to protect stuff, and then we're going to go into questions. See y'all in a bit. Woo! All right, we are back. Okay. All right, thank y'all for your patience. Your boy is hydrated. And it turns out my elbow was acting funny, so now one of my spider leggies has a brace on it. Yay! But anywho, like I was saying, ID, name, date of birth, address. Those are the 4 cornerstones of us protecting your information as a primary safeguard. Now, let's get into just the information that is protected by your health insurance companies and and just go over that whole thing. So, and then like how we go about that. So, information that we actually protect. Your benefit details. So, say Mary Jo has a $20 copay for a MRI. If her doctor can't verify that information that we asked for, hey, we can't tell you just what she's covered for. You got to figure that out. You got to figure that out and call us back, or you got to have Mary figure that out, which isn't really her job. That's your job. Any number of things, really, but regardless, it's just a matter of we're not going to tell you. Any services that we have that have been approved for you to have, we can get into that talk about what's called an authorization later. But yeah, services that you've been approved for. You can't if the information can't be verified, we cannot tell you. We cannot tell them. And even better, if they're asking about an authorization that's for a different facility and their name for a different facility or provider, and their name isn't listed as one of their representatives on there, like say, this is Glen Oaks Hospital, and we're asking about authorization for Tucson Hospital. If Tucson Hospital doesn't have Glen Oaks listed as a party that's helping them with this service, as far as we can tell them, we don't have any records of that. There's nothing on file for that. And I can guarantee you they do not enjoy that. They do not enjoy being told no. Very few people do when it comes to the insurance system. But yeah, no, they don't enjoy being told no. We're not going to tell them about that, and no, we can't talk about that. But yeah, we will deny something. We will deny its existence because we have to. So yeah, it gets when we're talking about just the stuff that we can and can't talk about, it gets wild. Let's see what other information we protect. Let's see, benefits, and claims. When your doctor wants to get paid for doing the thing that they said they were going to do, they've got to, when they send in their billing, they have to send in that information that we talked about earlier. And if someone's going to check up on that claim to make sure that we actually paid them, or to find out why we didn't pay them, they got to be able to verify that. If they don't, we don't talk to them. If they are calling about a claim for somebody else, just like with authorizations, if they're not listed as a part of that billing, what claim? That doesn't exist here. We don't have anything like that here. Now, let's get into just how, who can actually access it by default. First up, there's you. You as a member can always access your health insurance information. You know what? I don't have anything on screen. Why am I sitting in the corner? That's me in the corner. That's me in the chair. Whee! There we go. Yay! Front row center wiggles. Let's go. Okay, so first up, there's you. You are always able to access your information. If you want to know what your benefits are, you call up an insurance company. You check online. You go through your security checks, which would be the HIPAA information, and you tell us what you want. We give you your benefit. That's the end of the story. You want to know if you're getting paid for a service that was maybe not entirely covered. We got you. You're looking for anything you're getting reimbursement for. Yeah, we got you for that. But those are the things that you should expect from your insurance company. should always expect to be able to access your information and your records. Now, as for getting detailed records from your insurance company, anytime they pay something or approve something, they have to send you a notice saying that they paid it or approved it. Whether they do that electronically or by paper is completely dependent on the company and how they have things set up, but they are required by law to tell you that they did so. If they do not, that's a problem. Not a HIPAA violation, but it is a problem. And that falls under a different law whose name eludes me at this point because I've never had to deal with it. Let's see. Providers. Your doctor can access your information. They actually have to go through a bit more of a clearance than you do. So when a doctor calls into an insurance company, they have to provide one of two things alongside who they are and who they work for. And that is a tax identification number. I can just type this and clip it. There we go. Why am I making this harder on myself? Let's see. Can I raise the font size? Doubtful. We'll do it in Word. Give me a second here, chat. And we're gonna put this at 24. There we go. There we go. And also this one. And make two little snippy snips here. And here. Oh, not there. Move the cursor over here so I can actually do this without getting the cursor in there. There we go. I know what I'm doing. I'm smart. I am a wise cookie. There we go. And now we can put those on the chalkboard. Chalkboard. Image. Okay. Yes. Okay, so they have to provide one of two things in addition to just what their name is and who they work for. One of the main, what's called a TIN, or their tax identification number. That is the number that they file with the government when they're filing their taxes. That is their identifier. Now that can change if they go from private practice to being a group practice or to a facility, but every provider has one. It's also referred to as an EIN for employer identification number. Basically, it's a professional social security number. It has the exact same amount of digits, and you can use a social security number in exchange for one. But if your provider is smart, they're not using their social security number. They're using one of these, and that's what they will be providing to the insurance company every single time they want to talk to somebody. The other thing that they can use, depending on the company, not all of us allow this, is an NPI number, the National Provider Index. This number does not change. This is, I believe, this is a 10-digit number that does not change, and it sticks with a medical professional forever. Repeat after me, chat. Forever. They cannot get rid of this. They cannot escape this. If they fuck up for any reason, that's going on. That's being filed with the government, being put under their NPI. If they try to go somewhere else, like to a different insurance company, since they got kicked out of a different one, that follows them. They will be stuck with it forever, and there is not a goddamn thing they can do about it. Also, I got my little pointer with me. I'm just gonna put that in my little hand there. There we go. So yes, they have to give us their name of who's calling, their job title, who they work for, and the identification number associated with them that we ask for. And trust me, they don't like having to do that. One, because some providers are stupid and they use their social security number, which is not our fault nor our problem. But it is concerning that some of them don't realize that they can just ask the government for a new one, that they can ask the government for a tax ID number to use instead of, well, their social, and they get mad at us for it. And I mean, I can't help you with that. That's something you chose to do. But I digress. Yeah, they have extra steps to go through. If we can't find them and in our systems, and we use external systems to look them up and we still can't find them, then as far as we're concerned, they don't exist as an actual provider. We can't help them until they provide us some kind of proof that they are who they say they are and that they should be able to access this information, and they get shut down. And not like as in we tell them, oh, you can't practice medicine because we don't have authority over that. But we tell them, no, we're not going to give you any information and you can skip right on out of here. Screw you. But that also includes to any billers that they associate with. They got to provide that information. They got to tell us who they're operating on behalf of and give us one of these two numbers. They can't do that, we're not going to help them. Is it mean? No. They should know that. This is your information. This is your information we're screwing around with. It doesn't matter if we're mean. It's a matter of, are you being protected or not? If you're not being protected, there's a problem. Now, who can't access this information? Unfortunately, like, if you're watching my stream, you should be over the age of 18. If you're not, you should be 18 or older. If you're not, then, well, raise your hand. I promise nothing bad will happen to you. I promise I don't just have a hammer lying around somewhere. But, real talk, yeah, no. If you're 18 or older, in the United States, you are legally an adult, meaning that your parents no longer have immediate access to your records, which a lot of them don't like. Especially the boomer generation, they do not enjoy that one bit. I should know. I have a boomer parent. But, so yeah, they don't enjoy not having access to your records. So, they don't have immediate access to them. However, there are ways for them to get access to it if they have your permission. And I'll go ahead and reiterate that one more time. They can have access if they have your permission. We're gonna go ahead and put a new little thing on the screen. It's like a dream. Am I singing to distract you while I get things together? Yes. And there we go. There we go. And here is how they do so. This is how they get your permission. AUD, an authorization to use or disclose. Basically what this is, it's similar to a power of attorney, but instead of being able to make medical decisions for you, this just says, hey, I have permission from this person to speak on their behalf in regards to their information for this. It does not transfer between companies. So if you have two insurance companies, insurance company A's copy will not affect insurance company B. They will have to do another one. Depending on the company, they like take my company specifically, Hydrate. Thank you for the Hydrate. Like, depending on my company, they only last for a year. It was a 1 year thing, and after that, you'll have to fill out a new one. Now, an authorization to use and disclose can be done verbally or in writing. I don't know how other companies do it with verbal ones, but for my company specifically, a verbal authorization will only last for that one call. Say, let's just take someone out here. Say Nightbot's mom wants to call and say, I want to know about my son's policy because Nightbot has been going out of the house and getting stuff done, but he's not telling me. Okay, sure. I noticed that I don't have a written document here stating that you have permission to speak on his behalf. Is Nightbot there so I can talk to them? Well, no, Nightbot is at work right now, so I can't get him on the phone. Then I can't help you. If we cannot verify, if we can't get verbal consent to speak with them, and we cannot verify that the person that they have us speaking to is that person, we can't help them. Well, we're not going to, because that's a violation. If it turns out someone's like, hey, I want to know who all has been calling about me. They're like, oh yeah, your mom called about you a few days ago. We got your verbal permission to speak with her. That wasn't me. That launches a long investigation where records are being pulled, calls are being listened to. That's an audit nobody enjoys. Now, for a written one, that is how you ensure that someone can speak on your behalf without them having to call. And we do review these, meaning if someone forges your signature, like say go back to Nightbot's, we'll take Nightbot's dad now. Nightbot's dad forges his signature and says, oh yeah, no, Nightbot wants me to have access to all this information. We're gonna call Nightbot first. Say, hey, we got the authorization to use and disclose you signed. Just want to make sure that you actually signed it. And they're like, what's that? Or what do you mean? I haven't signed anything for anybody to access my health insurance information. That triggers a red flag. We go ahead and investigate that, because that is now an additional government matter that we have to deal with and get other outside agencies involved with. That's not fun for anyone. But yeah, so authorization, use, and disclose. That is vital for us protecting your information. If your parents are asking for your information, they're like, oh yeah, I need you to sign this, read it. Read your documents, people. If you want them to be sorry about that. If you want them to be able to help you, fill out an authorization, use, and disclose. Fill it out. I guarantee you it's not signing your soul away or anything, or letting them have complete control of what you can and can't do. It just lets them get information on your behalf. But they have to have your permission to do so. And you can even limit the information that they are able to obtain. Like, if you only want them to know about claims that are being issued on your behalf, issued by your providers, or that you're issuing yourself because you are trying to get reimbursement for a service, that's perfectly fine. You write that on the document. This is the information that I want them to have. If you only want them to be able to check on your benefits or make sure that your policy is active, by all means, go for it. That's definitely something that you can note and we will make sure that they only get that information. And if they're like, well, I also want to know, did Nightbot have service and get this service from this one facility on this state? It should be in his authorizations. Can't help you with that. You're not allowed for that information. But I have this document saying that I can have it. No, you have a document saying that that you can access claims details. Anything past that, we need verbal permission or written permission to speak with you. If you don't like it, you can hang up and call again later with them on the phone, or you can file a complaint. But since we're following the law, that complaint is not going to go anywhere. But all right, now branching off of just that and going strictly into health insurance details. Filing a complaint, as we've already mentioned, with the government, you can file a complaint if you suspect a HIPAA violation. If you have a complaint against a doctor in general or your health insurance company, you can go ahead and file a complaint directly with them. Complaints have to be forwarded to the proper authorities. Even if it's a complaint against your healthcare company. If they screw around and say, hey, well, I'm not going to do this for you because, well, I don't want to, and it's something that you paid for, you can file a complaint against them. You can file a complaint for whatever reason you want. You can be a Karen. Karening is quite common. But just remember, the more complaint, you want to make sure that you pick your complaints properly. Like, if it's an actual complaint about services or treatment or things like that, do it. But if it's something like, well, you didn't like how it took them 5 days to get back to you instead of the quoted 3, maybe that's not something you want to file a complaint about. Like timeliness, yeah, you can file a complaint about timeliness. Should you make a petty complaint, or say the insurance agent that you spoke with didn't engage in small talk with you and you want to file a complaint about that, you can. You shouldn't, because it's a dick move, but you can do that. But those types of complaints, they weaken your case when you actually have something serious to report. So keep that in mind. But you can file a complaint for anyone. If you file a complaint against your health insurance company, they have to report that to the government saying, hey, we got this complaint about us. We need an outside investigator to come in and take a look to make sure that we did what we were supposed to do. And we get outside companies sent in about that. They review the interactions and they determine if we did something wrong or not. And since we don't hire them, they don't work for us and they're not obligated to take our side for anything. I've had complaints filed against me. Thankfully, they went nowhere because I did my goddamn job. The HIPAA violations, that's a different story. But complaints, like, oh, I wasn't the most sociable on the line, but I did my goddamn job, so yeah, I was fine. Now, yes, complaints against the insurance company, doctors, you can always file a complaint. I recommend you do so. When you do, one thing I recommend always having, no matter if you're filing this with the government for a HIPAA violation or you're filing it because of just the services rendered, have your doctor's NPI. That is a public number, unlike the tax ID. This one, tax ID, that is private. Provider does not have to give that to you. You can ask for it, and if they're cool, they might give it to you, but they do not have to give that to you. Like I said, some doctors are not too bright and they will use their social security number. This one, that is public information. You can go onto Google and find someone's NPI. Matter of fact, give me a second here, real quick chat. NPI. Boop. And where are you? There. Boom. Look at this. NPIregistry.cms.hhs.gov/search. Put that in chat for you. Yeah. Look at that. Look at that go. This website is a repository of every doctor's NPI. You can find whoever you're looking for, and this is where you will go. This is a tool you can use to file, not to file a complaint, but to get the information you need to file your complaint. Say your doctor does not want to give you their NPI, and thinking that that'll stop them from getting a complaint filed against them, or for some reason. Okay, you know their name, you know where they practice, look them up. Let me scooch my big ass head out the way here. Pointer, go away. Actually, you know what? Pointer, come over here. You're just gonna shut out right there. Yeah. If you have the NPI number already, you can verify that that's correct. But if you don't have it, alright. Name of their practice. Where they are, generally where they are. You can look all this up, and it's a federal website managed by the government. And you can also download a full file. Like, this is all free. These are all free tools. You don't pay a goddamn cent for any of this. So, if you have to file a complaint, get their NPI number. I guarantee you it'll make the process go so much smoother, because you have no idea how many providers, even with uncommon names, have the same name as somebody else. But that NPI number, that's one of a kind. They screw up. That means, hey, if you know their NPI, that's better than knowing their name in some points. Because that just means you know exactly where and how to find them. And it doesn't look too good. It's like, oh yeah, no, this patient of yours dug up your name. Oh, I'm in trouble now, aren't I? Exactly. So, have an NPI, use that for your own complaints. Guarantee you, it'll make that whole process smoother, and it'll make it so much it'll make sure that it goes so much smooth. I've already said smoother. Fuck it. It makes things go smoother to a obscene extent. Now, let's go into some questions. I thank you all so much. You have no idea how scared I was that I wasn't going to get anybody to ask a question. Like, there's this one scene off of the show Ted that was based off that movie, where he's sitting in his principal's office and like, if you give her this job, I will ask a question. No one's asked a question at assembly. I will ask a question. But not like a silly question, an actual question. You have no idea how scared I was I wasn't going to get any questions at all. I really was hoping I did, and you all did not disappoint. We got about 20. We got a little over 20 questions, but yeah, let's go over these and see what we got. So I don't think these were all in the order that they came in, but yeah, we can go over. Let's go over some. First up, why can't my parents do health insurance stuff for me? I can answer that. As we covered over, that is based off of your authorization, use, and disclose. If you are over the age of 18, you're a legal adult. They can't do it without your written permission. Fun fact, depending on the state that you are in, mind, this information applies only to the United States. Depending on the state you are in, you reach medical adulthood a lot earlier than you reach legal adulthood. So, say you're in California, I believe the age of medical consent is 12. That's right, a friggin' 12-year-old can have a parent require an authorization, use, and disclose to speak with us, and we enforce that because we go based off the state. So if a kid is 12 and they're in California, guess what? You're medically an adult. You can make their own decisions. True, you don't know jack shit about insurance or how this whole thing works, or your medical policy, or even that it exists, probably, depending on how blessed you are in life. But yeah, if you are of the age, if you are of medical maturity, then we can't talk to your parents about that, and we can get in trouble for that. So we would have a verbal authorization, use, and disclose, or we would have a written one. And I can't tell you how many times I've had a parent who's been like, they're 12, they're 13, they don't even understand this, half of this. I'm like, I completely agree with you. It's the law. I have to follow it no matter how stupid it is. And I guarantee you, that's not a fun conversation that people like to have. Let's see. Can I sue for these if I can't afford a lawyer? Yes, you can. As a free resource, the government, if it has to file a complaint and open a lawsuit for this, they will sue on your behalf. You can ask them to sue on your behalf, or you can ask to have a lawyer assigned to you. Now, the second one they don't usually do, just because they'd rather just sue on your behalf and be done with it. But yeah, you can sue. Also, if you need a legal resource, check into lawyers that do percentage-based or on win or win to pay case basis or pro bono. Those are viable resources. And if I remember correctly, most states require barred lawyers all lawyers that have passed the bar to provide a certain amount of pro bono cases per year. So yeah, look into that shit. You can definitely sue. File your complaint first. File your complaints first, and then get legal representation, where you issue your get your legal representation, file your complaints, but the last thing you should do is submit your lawsuit. You want to make sure you have your ducks in a row first before you start getting legal documentation involved, because that could probably muddy the waters of what you want to do and what you want done. Let's see here. Next question. Can you help me pick a policy? No, I cannot. I cannot help you pick a policy. Yet again, I am not a lawyer. I am not a doctor. I am not your lawyer or doctor. I'm an insurance professional. So and I do work for a company, so me helping you pick a policy counts as a conflict of interest. That conflict of interest could cause so many issues. Let's see, next up, can my doctor sue me for filing a complaint? We covered that. The answer is no, your doctor cannot sue you for filing a complaint. That is retaliation, and as we discussed, Department of Human and Health Services will help you in that regard. If you are sued, that is a separate lawsuit altogether, which nobody, like your doctor, if they want that smoke, by all means let them have that smoke, but they're not going to enjoy that one bit. If you are retaliated against, get documentation of it. Get everything that you have in writing, confirm that this is happening because of this, and take it to whoever you need to and file your lawsuits. Get proper legal representation before you do this. But always get everything in writing and make sure that they are not screwing you over, because, well, you deserve better. Next question. Can I get my insurance to cover me better? I guess. I would assume you can. It depends on the policy you pick. That's unfortunately not the best answer the greatest answer I can really give you. If you're asking about like if they can cover doctors that aren't covered by their plan, yes they can. If you are wanting to see a doctor that is not actually covered by your policy, and say you don't have any benefits that cover for doctors that are outside of your insurance network, you can request out-of-network coverage for a doctor that's not actually covered by your plan, or a hospital that's not covered by your plan. This is what's called a single case agreement. That is called a single case agreement, also known as an ad hoc agreement. What that means is that you are making a deal with your insurance company and your doctor that says, hey, for you, like, you all do not have anything that meets what I need. You have no professionals that do what I need them to do. There is this one professional here that does. You don't cover them. Will you cover them for a certain amount of time using my in-network benefits to cover them? Or a modified version of my benefits. And then the doctor that you're requesting to see, they have to agree to the insurance's rates, or in a negotiation saying, hey, I agree to be paid this much for this service for this period of time. After that they can go ahead and do that. They have to at least hear you out. They cannot just say, no, we're not going to do that. They have to hear you out. That is a requirement. If they do not have the services, as long as it's something that if it's a service that they cover and that there's no one that can render the service, they have to hear you out. They don't have a choice in that matter. Now, the downside to a single case agreement, you have to prove that this is a medically necessary thing. You have to prove that this is a necessary thing that you need, and that it comes with its own bag of worms. And I can do that in another stream if you all want, but you have to prove that this is a necessary thing that is vital for you and that they need to cover, because it's either that or you got to go somewhere else. And that this will be too much of a burden on you to do it by yourself. So all of that all in all, that can make this a bit of a daunting effort, especially if you're already sick. Because then you're arguing that, oh hey, my health is deteriorating, I need help, while your health is deteriorating, and I guarantee that's not fun. But if it's a physical malady, take pictures. Keep documented pictures. Timestamp them. That way you can show, like, hey, yeah, no, this has been happening. This is getting worse. Because the human has to review your request. And I guarantee you, they don't want to be seeing that. But the more they have to see it, the more they'll either approve it so that way they don't have to see it anymore, or approve it so that way they can get this done and get you the help you need, especially if they're compassionate. There are some compassionate people in the health insurance field. It's just we're bogged down by the sheer amount of shit people. Yeah, perfect question, Clara. Yes, the requests are reviewed by licensed doctors. As a requirement, an insurance company, for a pre-authorization, say you're going in, like in my situation, I work for a mental health insurance company. If you're going in for a inpatient stay at a psych facility voluntarily, you don't need to be a licensed doctor to do that. We would have a pre-programmed thing that's literally pretty much a checklist saying, hey, is this member being admitted for this? Why are they being admitted for this? Does this follow? And as long as those boxes are checked off, we go ahead and approve it. Honestly, for an authorization, someone at my level isn't really needed. They just have it as a human element. But for case reviews, you have to be a licensed clinician. There, in situations like single case agreements, a licensed doctor where you have a medical degree, you practice medicine, you have your own practice, or you are in some other practice, and they go over the arguments and say, hey, yeah, no, this needs to be done. It's called a peer-to-peer review. Basically, the insurance's doctor and an outside doctor both have to be like, yeah, no, okay, this is they're kind of royally screwed here. This needs to be done. And yeah, no, at least they do that much. But still, it's not pleasant. They actually have to hear, but they do have to hear you out. They do not have a choice in that matter. So use your resources. If you are denied, and if they deny your single case agreement request, guess what? You can contest that in an appeal. They have to have an appeals process, and they usually have 2 levels of appeal, one being internal, one being external, but exhaust them. Make them work to deny you. If they're going to tell you no, make them work for every bloody cent that they're denying you. Like, do not let them off easy when they tell you no. Do not. Because I guarantee you, they don't make it's all for them to, they're telling you no to save money. You need to tell them you're going to say yes in this situation because I need to say I don't have the money for this. I'm paying you, do your job. All right, next up, let's see. What is the difference between a copay and a deductible? Good question. There's actually a third one you missed in there, coinsurance. And I will cover all of those as soon as I get that typed up. First up, we're gonna talk about copays. Yay! Look at that. Copay. That is a flat fee. If you go to your primary doctor and you have a $20 copay, that means if you go see that doctor, no matter what all they do in that visit, whether they give you a basic checkup, whether they give you a full physical, whether they if you're overly familiar with your doctor and you pay them to slap your cheeks around for a bit, and that's covered by your insurance, then, well, guess what? If you have a copay that says you have a $20 copay, that means you pay $20, no more, to see that doctor for that visit. That's it. $20 or whatever they have listed for your copay. I've seen copays go up to like $65, but those are also some really shitty policies that people got tricked into, so it kind of sucked having to tell them that. But yeah, if you have a copay, that is a flat fee. And yeah, no, I understand not fully understanding those. It's because the wording is deliberately made similar and obtuse to make it so that way you don't understand what you're signing up for. It is quite literally deliberate. It is deliberate, and honestly, it's not fair to anybody. All right. Next up, we are gonna talk deductible. Let me get that up here. Deductible. In my opinion, this is the worst of the three. Hey there, cool guy outside my web. Thanks for revving up your engine. That makes me happy. Now, deductible. Like I said, this is the worst of the three because it's usually meant to screw you over harder. So, a deductible is how much you have to pay before your insurance will cover a dime. They will not cover a single thing before your deductible is met. If they tell you, oh hey, this policy comes with a $5,000 deductible and then you'll be covered for this, tell them to look again and find you something else, because with a deductible you have to pay that full thing. And a lot of policies operate on what's called a yearly basis, meaning that at the end of the year, so December 31st at 11:59:59, the second that hits January 1st at 00001, that means your deductible resets. If you did not meet that, you have to start over from the beginning. If you get your insurance through your employer, it may go off of what's called a business year, and that gets a bit more confusing too, but that's something that you can discuss with your HR department, and they can tell you what their business year is, and your insurance company should be able to verify that, yep, that's your business year. But the same thing happens. If you do not meet your deductible, your insurance company does not have to pay for any of this stuff. And honestly, it's pretty scummy. There are some times where you have a deductible where it coincides with what's called your maximum out of pocket. I didn't type that up. I'm going to do that. Okay. Sometimes you'll have a deductible that coincides with this thing called maximum out of pocket. Basically, your maximum out of pocket is how much you will spend out of your pocket over the course of the year before your insurance company has to state, okay, this person no longer owes anything, and we are completely responsible for this, and we will pay everything from now on until the end of this year or business year, whichever one your policy is set up for. So say you have a deductible of $500 and a maximum out of pocket of $5,000. That means once you pay $500, your insurance will cover you. Once you pay the $5,000 out of your pocket yourself, then your insurance will cover everything. And until that $5,000 is met, they'll just be covering a percentage of it. Now, given that one, that brings up the last one we have to deal with. And this one is not bad depending on the cut you get, but it can still be kind of scummy depending on who you're dealing with. And yes, these are all in Comic Sans because my ADHD brain processes this a lot better when I'm writing. Okay, coinsurance. What that means is it is the percentage that you pay and the percentage that your insurance pays. So, say you have, let's go back to that earlier example. You have a $500 deductible. Once you meet that deductible by paying out of your own pocket, so say your therapist, your doctor, charges you for a service that's going to be $500 out of your own pocket. Boom, there you go. Your deductible is met. Once that happens, coinsurance kicks in. And that is the split between you and your insurance company. So, say you're... hydrate, thank you. Oh, I got a trap bird. Okay, force that down. There you go. In your stomach. There you go. Okay. So your insurance will usually take the. I hate to say it in like this, but they'll usually take what they consider to be the lion's share of it, of whatever is bigger. Usually, it's not bigger by much. Sometimes it is. I love it when it is, but sometimes it's not. It'll be like, oh, we'll cover 60% while you only cover 40, or we'll cover 51% while you cover 49. Sometimes it's a 50-50 split. But either way, they'll say, hey, we'll cover this percentage, you cover this percentage. And that's not a flat rate. So if you go see a doctor and they're like, oh yeah, you owe 30%, that's 30% of whatever the insurance company says that they're allowed to charge. So if you have a procedure that's $1,000 and they're allowing the full $1,000, then if you're covered for 60% of that, that means your insurance company will pay $600. You got to come up with that other $400. So when you talk to your doctors, if you are on a plan like this where you have a deductible, ask if they have anything called a sliding scale. Oh, wrong button. There. Ask if they have anything called like a sliding scale fees or a payment plan or just something. Anything that you can use to lessen the burden on yourself, take advantage of it. Use your tools. All right. But yeah, that's how that whole process works, and I can write all this stuff up with definitions, everything, and just have that available to you. And if you have any questions about this, you can also hit me up on Twitter. Hit me up on Discord. I would be glad to go over this stuff with you. And like I said, depending on the interest, I'll do another one of these streams. But yeah, use your tools, and you can consider me one of them in a limited capacity. And it's no problem. That is why I'm doing the stream. I do not mind clarifying these things for you all. It is needlessly confusing, and I won't say it's needlessly confusing. It is maliciously confusing. It is designed to make sure that you don't understand. It is double. Insurance itself is double speak. I have providers call on a regular who they've been practicing medicine for years and they never understood insurance. They understand that it works sometimes. They understand that they get paid by the companies, but they don't really quite understand exactly what all they are required to do sometimes or how things work. And it's maliciously made to be confusing. Let's see, what's next? What are some red flags to look out for in insurance? Okay, we covered one of these. If they are charging you if they're saying that you have a massive deductible, red flag. If they are saying that if they deny a claim, that they will allow a provider to bill you instead, and especially if that provider is covered by them, red flag. If they say, oh yeah, no, you have any kind of like blackout dates where we're just not going to cover you for any services rendered on this random obtuse ass date, red flag. There are so many that you need to be on the lookout for, but the obvious ones, the ones that just sound like this is some old bullshit, red flag. All right. Why would they do the blackout date? Because okay, yeah, there's no better way of saying this. Because fuck you, that's why. That is why they would do that. There is literally no better way of saying that. That is why they would do something like that. That's why airline companies do that. Because fuck you, that's why. Their job is to save as much money as they can. And to do so, they have all of insurance companies will have all of these random things that are meant to make sure that you just can't use it. Because your premiums, the thing that you pay to actually keep your insurance policy active, that is their income and revenue. They charge you that as a business. And it's supposed to go into the pool to pay out for when a claim comes through. But if they say, oh yeah, well, you have this pre-existing condition, so we're not going to pay for that, or you got this service on this date that we just don't cover, then we're not going to pay for that. That is how they make their money. They make their money by making sure that you can't use their coverage as much as they possibly can within legal requirements. Yeah, it's not pleasant. I've had to say some very unpleasant things over my years working for the company I do work for, and holy hell, I was already suffering from depression before I started this job. I got clinical depression from going through this job. Like, I just got over I already had just depression because I was in school, and that was eating away at my mind. But this was painful. Like, I've had conversations with parents that have just left me up at night because of the horrible shit I've had to say. Like, yeah, sorry, your kid's not going to get this coverage for this therapy that they need because, well, that doctor's not covered, and we're not going to do anything about that, really, unless you go through this whole ass process. Fun fact, depending on the insurance company, like I know mine does, we're instructed to not tell you that you can request a single case agreement. Let me pull that back up. Where is it? There it is. That thing? Yeah. Depending on the company, we are told not to tell you that it's something that you have that you can do. We are allowed to say that if you bring it up first, we'll have to say, oh yeah, no, you can definitely request one. But we cannot tell you that you can have one or that you can ask for one. We have to skirt around that. Like, if you've ever seen the movie The Incredibles, that scene where Bob Parr is just telling this lady, I would like to help you, but I can't. I would like to tell you to talk to this lady from this department, but I can't do that. I would like to tell you to fill out this form. That's what I do on a daily basis. I would like to help you, but I can't. I would like to tell you what to do, but I can't do that. My job pays me to not tell you that you can do this, that, and the other. Exactly. You've done that a few times yourself. I think we all pretty much have if we've worked any kind of customer service position. But yeah, I would like to help you, but I can't. And like I said, shit's rough. See, if I don't have insurance, does this apply to me? Yes, HIPAA law applies to you even if you do not have insurance coverage. That is a government thing. Even if you do not have insurance, your doctors are required to abide by it and obey. They don't have a choice. If they had a choice, shit would be a lot worse, I promise you. But thankfully, they have no choice. Let's see, next question. Is it legal for my doctor to not use computers? By sheer, no, okay, I'll say this first. Yet again, I am not a lawyer, nor am I a legal representative. This is strictly based off of my observations as an employee of an insurance company and my own personal opinions. By sheer technicality, yes, it is legal for them to not use computers. However, by not using any form of digital technology to store records in a secure manner, it could constitute a HIPAA violation and/or exclude them from being able to join health insurance networks, since most insurance companies do have a requirement that you use computers for your management service, for managing contracts, managing your fee schedule, which is what they're allowed to bill for and how much they're allowed to charge, and for filing claims depending on their requirements. Okay. But yeah, so you can't say that a provider is breaking the law for not using a computer, but it is heavily frowned upon. Let's see, quick question. If a doctor refuses uninsured patients, is there any recourse? Unfortunately, there is not an exact law that tells them that they can't do that. It is heavily frowned upon. You can file a civil complaint about that with the Department of Health Services using the exact same form. It doesn't count as a HIPAA violation, but it does. You can file a complaint against them. That is something you can do. That is pretty much your only real recourse. You can file a complaint. You can file a civil suit. But there is no exact law for saying that they have to do that. Thank you for the head pats. Thank you. Yay. It's scummy. It's scummy as all hell, but yeah, there's not really much in the way of a law that would stop them from saying, oh yeah, we don't have to do this if we don't want to. I wish there was. I really wish there was. Like, put them on a payment plan. But thankfully, and I can do this, we can go over this in another stream, there is nothing wrong with going on Medicaid. It is not because you don't have to go on Medicaid because you're old. You go on Medicaid because you're poor. Or just because you need financial assistance because your insurance ain't gonna cover it all. As a trainer told me in a recent training I just finished, Medicaid is a payer of last resort. If you have a Medicaid policy from your state, they will give you funding for just about anything. Yep, Medicaid is saving your wallet so much, damn right it is, because that's its job. It is there to be the payer where, oh, your insurance isn't paying this, we'll pay it. Your coverage doesn't cover this, we'll cover it. It is meant to be there for when no one and nothing else is there. And fun fact, Medicaid counts as insurance, so if a provider is saying, oh, we won't take an uninsured patient, you got Medicaid, that counts. Now, there are a lot of providers that are not set up to be able to bill for Medicaid for whatever reason. Either they're not qualified to, which is not it's not a red flag, but it is a yellow one. If they're not qualified, if they're not allowed to bill for Medicaid, not because that they lack the credentialing for it, but because they're, by the government standards, they are not allowed to apply to bill for Medicaid. That's something you want to take a look into. But other than that, you can say I'm not uninsured. I have Medicaid through the state, and that counts as insurance. Now, if they say, oh, we don't accept that, you can rebut with the whole, you never said that. You just said you don't take anyone who's not insured. I'll file the claim myself, but I have insurance. So, eat my ass. Let's see. What company do you work for? I'm not telling you that. That's a whole bag of worms that we're not even going to get into. I can just tell you that I work for an insurance company. I have worked for this insurance company for close to a decade, and I'm damn good at my job. I am damn good at my job. Let's see. My doctor came after me with a bill because my insurance denied it. Can they do that? Okay. That is... Oh, yay! I'm trusted. Yay. But, okay. But back to the question. That is a, little bit of a bag of worms here. And it looks like we're about to run into an ad. So we're gonna go on a smaller break than we did last time, and we're gonna come back to that. So I will see y'all in about a minute. I'm gonna get some more water, and then we're gonna go over that question because that one can get a bit tricky. I'll see y'all in a few. Wow. Okay, we are back, and yay! I am glad that you all are, that you all trust me, and that you feel that this is going well. because I feel it's going well. It's going a lot better than I thought it would. I feared the worst. But, yay. Now, to that question of your doctor is coming after you with a bill because your insurance denied it, can they do that? That is completely dependent on whether or not that doctor is considered in-network or out-of-network with your insurance policy. With most insurance companies, if a doctor is in-network, they are not allowed to do that practice, which is known as balance billing. Let me type that up. I should have done that during the break, but I did not. Turn for you all. Balance billing. If a doctor is in-network, they're usually not allowed to do this. Balance billing is a practice where a doctor is denied by an insurance company for the billing, and instead of eating the costs or trying to fix whatever's wrong with their claim, they try to pass the buck on to the patient. If a provider is in network and their contract forbids balance billing, and they try and do it anyway, file a complaint with your insurance company. That is a violation of their contract. Ask your insurance company, do you allow balance billing? They have to give you a yes or no answer. There is no, well, it depends on this one. It's either a yes they do or no they don't. If that doctor is covered and they allow balance billing, find a new health insurance company. This is another good red flag. If for them to for you to find for your insurance questions. Now, if that doctor is out of network, meaning they don't have a contract on file with your insurance, that means that especially if they don't have any kind of like single case agreement on file with that company for your services, that means that your insurance company has no control over that provider. I mean, they can't do anything about that. And it sucks, and I hate it, but that's kind of the rub of it. They can't do anything about a provider that they don't have any control over, outside of saying, hey, you can't do illegal shit. So yeah, I'm sorry I can't give you a more satisfying answer here, but that's pretty much what you got going here. It's either find a doctor that's in network with your policy, or get a single case agreement, because that counts as a contract. But other than that, there's not shit you can really do about balance billing. I'm sorry. Especially in that there's nothing you can do about balance billing for an out-of-network provider. But yeah, like I said, ask your insurance company, do you allow balance billing? If they do, red flag, tell them, I'm going to keep looking. What do we got next? Can I get coverage for doctors that aren't technically covered? We have covered this actually, and we will say it again. Ask for one of these. You can use either term. If the agent you're talking to says, I've never heard of those, ask to speak to their supervisor. Not in a bitchy or cariny way, that's not what I'm saying. Just ask to speak to their supervisor, because they either weren't trained on these or they have not encountered it before. It happens. But this is something you can ask for. And if they say that they don't know what that is, just ask to speak to somebody. Ask to speak to the person they work for, and they can go ahead and get you through that process. Because, like I said, They have to hear you out. Let's see. Can my doctor refuse to see me for filing a complaint? We covered that as well. No, they cannot. That is retaliation, and you can sue for that. And the government will sue for that on your behalf as well. That is not necessarily a HIPAA violation, but it damn as well might be. Let's see. How do I report a doctor for breaking HIPAA? We covered that too. Let me go ahead and pull that back on up for anyone who did not see that. And there we go. How do you report a doctor for breaking HIPAA? Well, good question. You come here to the website for the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services. They have and just come over here. Look at that. Filing a complaint, and you can do it online. You can do it via mail. If you have a fax machine, you can do it that way too. There are so many ways you can file a complaint with the government for this, and they will take care of it because they don't have a choice, because they've been sued once and they don't want to go through it again. Like, there are so many tools for you to use. Use them. Take the most advantage of them as you possibly can. All right. Let's see. Next one. Can my insurance company and doctors deny me when I ask for records? We talked about this too. No, they can't. They cannot do that. They have to provide you with your records in a timely and accessible manner. There's a specific statute for this too. Let me go ahead and pull that back up. And there we go. Boop. There you go. That statute. They are with that statute, which is part of HIPAA law. You have a right to access your health information, and they cannot deny you your records. Health insurance company or doctor. They say no, tell them to kick bricks, and say under this you do have to, and if you don't, we're gonna have some problems. And yet again, if they don't, file that complaint, file that complaint, file it. How do you get your records? That is entirely dependent on who you're trying to get records from. If you're trying to get it from your doctor or a hospital that you got treatment at, you gotta go to them. Gotta go to them and say, hey, I want my records. And yet again, that statute applies. And they should have a process for you to go about requesting them. Now when you go in, they don't have to just give you say, I want my records. They don't just like, oh, okay, and hand you a fat ass file that has all your medical history in it that they have down. No, they don't have to do that. What they do have to do is you have to go through a record process where they'll probably ask, okay, what records are you wanting and how do you want them? And they have to supply that for you. Now, some records aren't digitized and they'll have to give you a paper copy. That's fine. That's just the rub of it. Or doctor's charts, doctor's notes, sometimes those aren't fully digitized and they'll have to give you paper for that. That happens. But the rest of it, if it's digital media, they gotta supply that to you in a digital format. Let's see. Okay, this is the one that I answer on a regular basis. Okay, I like this question. Oh, and stretch. Okay. Oh, there we go. All right. Which mental health doctor can do what? Okay. That is a question I get on a regular basis. And it's kind of silly that they use a similar term for both, but for both of these doctors, but I have an answer for you. A therapist, social worker, or psychologist. And I'll go ahead and type those up real quick. Okay, boom. So, these three classifications: a therapist, licensed social worker, also known as a licensed clinical social worker, depending on how fancy they're getting with their title, and a psychologist. Those are different degree levels, but they all mean the exact same thing. They are the doctor you go to talk to. They're the whole, oh, you're on the couch and you're going through your past and what you feel, and they're like, and how does that make you feel? And okay, how about we try these exercises? That is who you would go to see to talk to. A therapist, a social worker, and a psychologist, especially a psychologist. Psychologist is as close to a doctor as a doctor or therapist can get without being able to render medication. None of these three can render you any kind of medication. The psychologist can make a recommendation, the therapist can make a recommendation, but they cannot actually render you that medication. A psychologist has a PhD at the end of their name. They have a doctorate in behavioral health services, but they are not a doctor in a medical sense. They're damn near close to one though. They just have to actually get a medical degree for that. Now, for the other one, the one that can actually render medication, and the one that and this is what trips people up. A psychiatrist. They are the only ones that can render medication. A psychiatrist, a nurse prescriber, a registered nurse, they can render you medication. They can write you a prescription for medication. Normally only a psychiatrist or a nurse prescriber will do so, but these are the ones that you would have to go to. If you just want to say, hey, I want anxiety medication, but I don't want therapy for it, that's probably not going to be greatest for the long term, but sure. If you can talk to a psychiatrist, they're who you need to see. All right, and I think I got enough in me for one more. Let's see. How do we report a HIPAA violation? We covered that one, yay! HIPAA violation, if you need to report that, I will say this as many times as I have to. Go on to the website. Boom. Go here. Go here and file your complaint. I will, like I said, I will include links in the description of this video. Go there. Go there, file your complaint. Do what you need to do immediately. Do not wait. They cannot do anything to you for filing a complaint. Let's see. Does this count if I don't have insurance? We covered that one. Yes, it does. These are fully determined based off of your just the fact that you are a U.S. citizen and you deserve to be treated with respect. That, and the government got sued for this before, so this is the law now. Oh, I only have 2 more questions after that, and both of these I can answer. Okay, sure. Why am I not fully covered if I paid my premium? Because your premium, I'll answer that one real simply. Because your premium is just the money you pay to keep your insurance policy active. That's the short of it. If they're saying you have a $500 per month premium, find a different policy because you're getting screwed. But yeah, that premium is just to keep your policy active, it gives you nothing. That money goes into a pool that may or may not be used to actually pay out for your services. Who knows? But yeah, premium. That just keeps your policy active. You got to pay that per month, or if you're getting your insurance through your employer, which I really hate that practice, that your health is tied to you being a worker drone for the rest of your life. Yeah, that's what you got. You'll have to use. Come on, brain, make words. You have to use your best judgment in picking your policy based off your options, but yeah, that doesn't cover change how your insurance works. The premium is not the deductible. The premium is not your co-insurance. The premium is not your copay. And okay, last question we've got for this one. My doctor won't refer me for services saying I don't need them. Can I do anything about it? Yes, you can go see a different doctor. You can go see a different doctor and go ask them if they'll refer you for services. Also, you can call your insurance company and ask, do you need a referral for that service? If they say you don't need a referral for them to cover that service, like for the mental health company I work for, we don't require our members to have referrals for therapy or psychiatry services. That's not a specialist visit. That's just a doctor. So they don't have to actually go ask their primary care physician if they can go see them. But if your doctor won't refer you, find a new doctor, like go to a different doctor and ask. And if you don't require a referral, perfect, go see them. If the doctor if the service you're wanting to see, and that doctor is saying, well, I want a referral just for my own peace of mind, fine. Talk to a doctor that is willing to write one and have them do what's called a doctor-to-doctor referral. Basically, it's the doctor saying, hey, yeah, no, I talked to this guy and they're saying that they want this, and it sounds like they know what they're talking about, so they want to be referred to you, and that is good enough. But clear that with your insurance first. Clear that with the doctor you're trying to see first. See what they require. That is the full basis of what you need to do. All right, well, that covers all of the questions that I had that you guys sent in. Thank you so much. This was a lot more than I had anticipated getting, and I'm so glad that y'all did. So I thank you all for joining me. I hope that this was informative and helpful in any way that I could make it. And if, like I said, if there's interest in this, I would be glad to do another. You just tell me what y'all want to know and I'll do it. But until then, I'll see you all next time.